Okay, good evening, everyone. At this time, I'd like to call this Town Council regular session meeting of June 5th, 2024 to order. Before we get started, Councillor Glazebrook could not be with us this evening, but would like to participate remotely. If there's no objection, he'll do that. Okay. And seeing none, Councillor Glazebrook, I have two questions to ask of you. Was it reasonably impractical for you to attend this evening?
You're muted.
Oh, and you're muted.
Yes.
And is there anyone in the room with you?
No.
Okay. And with that, we will move on, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councillor White, if you would lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. And item 3 on our agenda, on our very busy agenda this evening, is roll call, and all councillors are present and accounted for. Thank you so much. And we will move right on to public forum. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak this evening?
Public forum?
Public forum. Is there anyone who wishes to speak this evening?
You need
Okay.
to come to the,
Then,
and you have 3 minutes.
My name's Donald Guy. I live at 17 New Road, Newmarket, New Hampshire. I've lived here for 30 years. I own my own business at one time. I served for my country. I got 21 years in the military. I am permanent and totally disabled due to the injuries that I sustained in the military. I'm just wondering, I talk to a lot of veterans in other towns, and they have P&T, permanent and total disability. I have documentation. They get in full benefits. This town's only given half, and I'm just wondering why. Why is this town different? Is this town different than any other towns? Permanent and total disability. Tax credits.
The council rules isn't a question and answer period. It's just a portion to state an opinion, so that you're not getting, it won't be a back and forth.
Right.
They won't answer, the council. It's not, they don't answer back and forth during this time.
They won't answer.
That's the council rules. This is an opportunity for the public to speak on something on the agenda or something of concern to the...
I was just wondering.
Yeah, and just to let you know, there isn't a resolution on the agenda tonight to increase the disability exemption.
And I have another thing. When I first came here, I noticed something that I liked. I'm always respectful for the elderly people, you know. One thing that I noticed, they had the trash pickup, and I moved here in 2002. 2012, it was taken away. Every year, they had, for the elderly people, if you set your trash out, the town would pick it up. I'm just wondering why they took that away. I mean, why would they do that to our elderly people? You know what I'm saying? I've been always wondering about that. That's it. You know? How will I get an answer? I mean, I'm not good at this.
Yeah, no, I'll address the second one during the town manager's report, and it's the actions of the council later on. We'll address the other part.
All right. That's all I wanted to know. All right.
thank you, Mr. Day.
Thank you.
I'll see you.
Thank you for coming in.
Especially on a day like today.
Especially on a day like today,
Yes.
rainy and all, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no other members of the public, we will close public forum at 7:05. And item 5 on the agenda is the town council to consider acceptance of minutes, and we have 3 sets of meeting minutes this evening, councilors. The first is the May 15th, 2024 non-public minutes, and I would accept a motion to approve those.
So, second.
Thank you. And Wendy, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Glazebrook,
Aye.
Council Lamattina,
Aye.
Council Dornblue,
Aye.
Council White,
Aye.
Council Blackstone,
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conlon.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
And the next set of minutes is the regular session, May 15th, 2024, regular session meeting minutes. I would accept a motion to approve those.
I will make the motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Excellent. Any discussion or changes? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll.
Council Glazebrook,
Aye.
Council Lamattina,
Aye.
Council Dornblue.
Aye.
Council White,
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conlon.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Excellent. And the last set is the May 22, 2024 Town Council Goal-Setting Meeting Minutes. I would accept a motion to approve those.
I will make the motion. I'll second.
Excellent. And any discussion or changes? Okay. Wendy, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Glazebrook,
Aye.
Council Lamattina,
Aye.
Council Dornblue.
Aye.
Council White,
Abstain.
Council Blackstone,
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conlon.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Wonderful. Thank you, counselors. And item 6 on the agenda is to consider nominations, appointments, and elections, and we have 2 this evening. The first is Patrick Reynolds, and I believe is a reappointment to the NHDES for appointment to the Lamprey River Advisory Committee with a term expiring 2027.
I will make the motion.
I would accept a motion to approve that. And do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. Any discussion on Mr. Reynolds' reappointment? I hear he's done a decent job.
I don't know how you'd hear that.
Okay, seeing none, if you can call the roll.
Council Glazebrook,
Aye.
Council Lamattina,
Aye.
Council Dornblue.
Aye.
Council White,
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conlon.
Abstain.
Motion passes 6-0-1.
And the next nomination is, actually, this is a resignation. Roberta Branca, resignation from the Energy and Environment Committee, the term expiring April 2026. And I would accept a motion to accept that resignation with regret.
I will make the motion.
Okay.
I will second.
Excellent. I read the letter, not a ton of detail. Any discussion there?
Just to add that she was a very valuable member of the committee. Sorry to see her go.
Okay. Excellent. Seeing none, if you could call the roll.
Council Glazebrook,
Aye.
Council Lamattina,
Aye.
Council Dornblue.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conlon.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Excellent. Okay, and at this time is the item 7 on our agenda is the report of the town manager. And so at this time, I will turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I do our report, it would be in order for the council to make a motion to seal the minutes indefinitely of the non-public session this
Okay.
evening, because it would affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board.
Okay. Then at this time, I will accept a motion to permanently seal the minutes of this evening's non-public session.
So moved. And I will second.
So, is there any discussion? Okay, thank you for that reminder. And then Wendy, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Glazebrook,
Aye.
Council Lamattina,
Aye.
Council Dornblue.
Aye.
Council White,
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conlon.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay.
Okay. On my written report, first, the council's aware that we've sent out requests for qualifications for solar development services. We received 5 proposals, and we've selected 3 for interviews after being evaluated. We're going to be doing interviews with those companies actually tomorrow, aiming for a final proposal to be presented to the town council later this summer. The next, as the council knows, we created a Newmarket 300 group, which is planning a community celebration for Newmarket's 300th anniversary and the United States 250th anniversary. We have a draft grant agreement that I'm working on to get to the council's approval this summer. It would allow the town to give the funds the town's reserve for celebrations to this new private group with conditions. This is a similar model that Portsmouth and Dover used for their successful celebrations last year. The next item, the Conservation Commission and Southeast Land Trust are collaborating on a conservation project called the Mitchell Conservation Project. The project involves conserving about 132 acres of land near Bald Hill Road and Jacobs Well Road in Newmarket and Epping. The land has important conservation features such as Hilton Brook, wetlands, the proximity to Lamprey, and its role in protecting wild quality of the Great Bay watershed. It's part of a larger network of conservation lands providing valuable wildlife habitat, connecting the Pawtucket Greenway to the Great Bay Greenway vision. The total expense of the transaction cost is going to be $2,053,494, which covers the various costs. The project budget for the Mitchell Conservation Project is $2,213,594, with major funding sources coming from Fish and Game, L-CHIP, Moose Place, DES, Lamprey River Advisory Committee, and private donations. The Conservation Commission is going to be asked to provide a letter of support for the project and funding commitment of $100,000. They're going to be proposing that the town accept an executory interest on the Mitchell property, and the Commission is also proposing, as we said, $100,000 towards the project for the 2002 land acquisition bond and the remaining amounts from the conservation funds. The chair and I discussed the project with the stakeholders, Southeast Land Trust and Conservation Commission was there, yeah. And the council will soon have a resolution to look at about securing that land. I just want to get it on the radar since it's a significant amount of money. I was at the goal setting session if we have an AI policy for the town. I'm currently researching this and plan to make one by the summer. AI is a set of new technologies that use big data and machine learning to create content for user prompts. The content can be text or visual, and these tools are not real intelligence but advanced models that guess what the prompt wants. We need a town policy because of their benefits, risks, and dangers. These tools are evolving fast and are still being studied. We're learning how they work, and they affect society. AI is a tool that we're responsible for AI is a tool, and we're responsible for what our tools do. I think that's one thing people need to realize in this situation, that it's no different than using email or anything else, or even spell check. But it's up to the employees to do that. For example, if autocorrect changes a word in the meaning of our text, we're still liable. Technology helps our work. It doesn't replace judgment or responsibility. And yes, I did use AI to help write that paragraph. On my unwritten report, you should have all received in your email today your draft goal setting session goals. And I didn't see any large omittance or anything, so I let them know that and to move forward with a finalization, and we should have those, I'm hoping by the next meeting now, and we can review them at the meeting further. Next, you all received, and council, you should have received an email, Glazebrook, just a few seconds ago from me, that we're looking at doing some traffic calming projects and trying things out this summer. And we need to do it sooner than later because we need it when it's dry and we can paint. So what we've heard concerns for pedestrian and wildlife crossing issues in the community. Recently we've heard a lot about on Hersey Lane because of the number of developments up there now, and there have been a number of accidents up there as well. So while we're going to be going through a complete review of the engineering up there, where stop signs should go and how to street lights. One of the things we're going to try to do is and you see this more in Maine, we haven't seen it a lot in New Hampshire yet, is we put in a fog line, but then on top of that, we put in another 12-inch dash fog line. And what this does, it gives the perception of the road is narrower, and people slow down. I know I've seen it in South Berwick, a number of places. I originally thought it was for, it was always near a marsh, so I thought it was where they pick up you shouldn't have salt. So I thought it was something for the drivers, but it's not. It's actually a way to slow down, and it's been known to work. We're going to try that on Hersey Lane for now, to see if and we're going to move some signs around to see if that will get people to slow down up there. And as you may be aware, we have a number of issues on Swamp Road with the turtle crossings. And we're currently working on a grant with Fish and Game to replace a culvert with a box culvert so that they can get across easier. In the meantime, we're going to be trying some other traffic calming matters, which include what I just mentioned, the fog lines with the hash marks, as well as some diagonal lines across the street, so they know where the area is to slow down and look. And even if there's a turtle on one of the white lines, they probably can see it more. As well as installation of, you see them that most people think they're yield, but it's just to warn you that's 4 triangles across the lane. That gets you to think of that as a slow down area. We're just trying this for one, because we know these are 2 issues that we have, but if it works, we're also going to try in other parts of the community, especially the road narrowing, and try to get that to see if that works. They're going to be painting that hopefully beginning next week, and we'll try it out for as long as the paint's there and see if it works. Oh, and as well as the turtle, we're going to move signage and get that going as well. And Mr. Day asked about the trash pickup in 2012. What he's referring to is roadside solid waste collection, which we ended in 2012. The big reason was liability. One of the things that was always put out there was paint and other chemicals that we do not know what's in there. And by putting it into the bin, that was a liability against the town. So we're not able to do that any longer. People still bring it to the transfer station if they're able. We can look at other manners. I know other communities charge a fee, put a sticker on something that's large, and then Public Works will go pick it up on a certain date. But that's something we can look at in the future. But we hear it once every so often, why did you get rid of it? They used to call it spring cleanup.
Okay.
But it's a bigger liability now because of the materials that are in those things.
Yeah, Durham has that, I see that, all the furniture piled up. And
That's more
mostly
for
for
the
That's
the
just
UNH,
UNH.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have their own company.
Oh.
They have their own trash collection. Portsmouth, Hampton, Durham, around here have in-house trash because they need to pick it up faster because of students, downtown Portsmouth, and the beach. But most other communities have a contract with waste management or Casella to do curbside. But that's all I have tonight.
Excellent. Any comments or questions for the town manager? Councilor Dornblum?
On 2, since we were on the trash pickup, just one thing. I think Dover does the stickers, right? And you call ahead and you can reserve a time and you describe what you're having picked up. I think that's something that we should
Exactly.
Look at.
Yep.
I'm wondering if you can give a little bit more detail to the solar project. What is it that was, what the request, what does it entail?
So this one is going to be, the first phase is to look at installing solar on our well heads and facilities. And just well heads, not for you, yeah.
By wellhead, you mean the field?
The fields.
Yeah, okay.
So that way we can excuse me. Sorry, allergies this week. So that way we can have a company come in, install them, and work on. We're trying to get a company to work with to go through this. Originally we worked with Revision to get most of the information. However, any situation like this, we should go out to bid for competition. So this will be sort of like our consultants, and also working with us to install them. and would do, use them for possibly future ones.
Follow up. So this is not an actual project bid. This is for a consultant to help us with
This is the consultant
solar
who
projects.
come later to
Yeah.
propose the way to do it.
Okay.
Correct.
Kind of like an engineering thing.
Exactly. But they want it, but the flip side is they want to come to us to make the money.
Town manager, is this to kind of move ahead on the solar array project that we had
Yes.
been kind of talking about for a few years?
Yeah, we've been trying to
Awesome.
find
Okay.
a spot, or, because we've looked at everything from the roofs of the schools, to roofs here, to fields. So this is to get a company in to work with us to get to the next step.
Thank you. Councilor Lamatina?
Can I get a copy of the request, just to
Sure.
see it?
Yeah, we are interviewing tomorrow.
That's fine, I don't need to
Okay.
do that, I'm just curious to see,
Sure.
what we're actually asking for.
I'll give it to the council.
And I'll pass that on to the
Yep.
Energy Committee.
Councilor Blackstone?
Yeah, so I'd like to follow on this. So my understanding, and Joe's maybe the expert in this stuff, my understanding is the problem with solar is that the power company doesn't have to buy it from you. And so I know a lot of towns, they only do solar where they use the electricity themselves. Do we have a expectation that the power company is going to buy this power?
It all depends, really. It's
I
Community power.
can't speak to that specifically, but I can tell you that there was some legislation related to net metering and how they're going to do net metering. It was passed by the House, it went to the Senate. The Senate has referred it to further study. So as far as community power is concerned, when it comes to net metering and how that's all going to work, it's all off for another year at least.
Okay, so is this study going to include what are we going to do with the electricity after we generate it?
yes.
Okay.
Other questions? I just had a quick one about the AI. Have other towns, do you know any policies that other towns
I
have
do.
implemented, and what are they doing?
So, for example, New Hampshire, the city of Lebanon is very forward-thinking on their IT and their, just their technology in general. That's probably one of the gold standards in the state. They have an AI policy that I've been reviewing and talking with the city manager over there. City of Boston has a good AI policy for the employees and what they should and should not use it for. Trying to combine those and do some investigation. For example, one of the things I'm asking the Community Development Department to look at for AI is there's a program now that if somebody was like to file a building permit or a planning document, they do it first into the computer. AI goes through, compares all the things they filled out with everything in our ordinance and says, yay, it makes it, no, it doesn't, and this is the reason why. And then the human comes in and says, okay, let's see what we can do there. So instead of having that first, the more clerical thing done by a human, AI can do it for you now. And that's going to be for more of the things. I'm using it more for cheating on one thing is summarizing PDFs that I get at 100 pages. You can now say, please give me an executive summary of this versus having to sit through 100 pages of documents. Wastewater usually is the one who sends me those. And I'm the first one to have Copilot integrated on their Windows system. So I'm seeing all the red squiggles on everything that I get and all the suggestions for edits and just to get it more going. So we're just getting there.
Thank you. Any other questions for the town manager? Okay. I'm seeing none, then we will move on to committee reports. Are there any committee reports this evening? Councilor Glazebrook.
All right, so the Arts, Culture, Tourism met on June 4th. And I would say that we have selected a winner for the mural for Willie Park. It's a local woman, Alex Edgerly. Everyone was in love with her design, and she put a lot of thought and detail into the small little pieces of the town that are all over it. So that we're looking forward to that. And in the Willie Park area, you will now see a sign up that has a QR code, and we are looking for photo submissions from residents, up to 5, but basically just photos of things that you like around town. They have to be there's specifications on the sign, but they have to be a certain quality to be submitted and actually used. But the border of the mural will be images from people in town, which will be really awesome. You'll be able to go up and find where your photo is potentially, and so that'll be awesome. Then there's a green box in that park. We talked about it before, but we could not get permission from the source to paint it. The alternative that we're currently looking into is a granite bench in front of it that would be on like rollers. They'd be able to roll, half of it would roll out of the way so they could access it if needed. And that would fit well, we think, with the aesthetic, but it still has to go to a vote and everything. It's just preliminary. We're talking about these options that are available for it because it's kind of an eyesore right there in front of the building there. Coming up, the town will be, or the Arts, Culture, Tourism Commission will be offering some photo education classes. They'll be offering them through the library and through the Sunrise Sunset Center. They'll be free, but we don't have dates yet. I should have dates for the next meeting, I believe. That'll just be for people who are interested in taking, amateur photography on how they can take better photos and stuff like that. And then, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Glazebrook. Questions? Councillor Lamattina?
Oh, no questions.
No questions? Okay. Other committee reports? Councillor Lamattina.
Okay. Energy and environment, I have a couple of things here. So April is the first month that we were on Newmarket Community Power. I have some statistics. We had 4,068 active accounts. 4,047 of those were in the default energy service of 23% clean energy. Since the inception, we've had 48 people that have, or accounts that have opted out, but we've had 88 accounts that have opted in. We currently have about 12 accounts that are in a higher energy, clean 100 or clean 50%. Going forward, I should be able to give some statistics as to how much Newmarket residents are actually saving using Newmarket Community Power versus had they gone with Eversource. The second item I have is an energy challenge. Newmarket is going to join with other Seacoast communities during August through December with a contest to see who we can get more people to upgrade to a higher level of energy. So the committee is currently figuring out how do we get the word out, how do we get people to do this. We are going to have a booth at the Backyard Bash in August. And the last thing I have is discretionary fund. The end of this month, Community Power will announce their new rates, their upcoming rates for August through January. With that rate, towns or communities have the ability to add a discretionary fund that goes into their reserves. The town manager and I attended a video conference about discretionary funds, and although we haven't specifically really talked about it, I think the consensus between us is that at this point we will not establish a discretionary fund.
Yeah, my reason would be we don't have a project, but an idea. I have an idea for one, but it's still an idea. So I don't think we should be putting funds aside or charging people more money until we have a better idea for environmentals. Yeah.
also too loud. It sounds like that they're not quite ready for prime time.
No.
As far as
There was a lot more questions than answers that day.
So, that's all I have.
Are there any questions for Councillor Lamattina? Okay, and then Councillor Ward.
Yep, the budget committee met on the 20th. The school gave its presentation on the third quarter for the financial year 24. They mentioned a couple of things. There's been some difficulty trying to find some new substitute teachers. There has been some grant reductions due to decreases in grant allocations, but the school did get a fully funded grant for installing a resilient surface to the playground through the ESSE 3 funds that I might have mispronounced. And they are currently looking at a bill going through the New Hampshire House, New Hampshire House Bill 1279, which if passed would permit it restore a state payment of 7.5% to a retirement system for school teachers. So they're, school's hoping for that. And and apparently Newmarket is really well ranked amongst the schools in what was it? I believe it's
State.
in the state. It's one of the highest in the states in the Seacoast, near I think number 1 maybe, but I don't want to get this. But yes, that's my report.
Excellent. Questions for Councillor Ward? Okay. Seeing none, are there any other committee reports? Okay. Then we will move on to resolutions and ordinances in the second reading. And there are several this evening, councilors. So we will start with Resolution 2023-2024-38, the Municipal Website Upgrade Project. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
I will make the motion.
Thank you, Councilor Ward. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you. Okay, and Town Manager, can you,
Director
thank
of
you,
Administration-
Mr. Tappan.
Finance Administration will be here.
Excellent.
Okay, so are there questions, or should I just
Just give us some.
blather on? Okay, so the request is for us to, or resolutions for us to upgrade our website so that it will go from what is somewhat antiquated Drupal 7 and in the case of the Recreation Department WordPress site. And if you've had a chance to look at the staff report, you can see there are a number of reasons why we're doing this. One of which is consistent branding across all the platforms. Another big one is the fact that it's mobile capable and the current system is not. So, you're doing this all the time. And then the ability to customize and change things, although it sounds like a big nothing if you're not having to deal with it, is actually quite a pain under our current system. So we've been going through a cleanup process recently, and as anyone who's been working on this can attest, it's been difficult and slow. So this would, because of the enhanced features with new technology, it's much simpler. So that's it in a nutshell.
Okay. Any questions? Councillor Glazebrook.
Is there a reason we didn't get any quotes from anybody else or get any bids or anything? It just seems like
Sure.
I'm not familiar at all with websites.
It's pretty much a sole source contract. They currently host our website as well as our Civic Plus, our Civic Engagement, Civic Ready, Civic. So we have all the Civic products.
Okay.
This is more of an upgrade to what we currently have than it is for a complete redesign. It's just it's going from a basic to a higher level. And it'll actually work better with our Civic Ready. One of the things we talked about this week was when we put something on Civic Ready, it will automatically be posted on the website versus having to go through a couple steps to get it to the next one. And also, we'll be getting all department heads, I look at 2 in the room, to use their Civic Ready accounts for items that are not emergencies but are needed to get out to the public immediately.
So the short answer is there's not really any other option.
There are, but it would be basically restarting everything.
Okay.
And we're not upset with we have no issues with the company, so I wouldn't recommend switching at this time.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Counselor Dornblit.
You said, Bill, that you went through a cleanup process. Are you expecting to move current information over directly, or will will you try to repopulate with new information?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah, but they will definitely be
Further up.
moving things over
Yeah.
that are currently there.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
so we don't lose anything.
Yeah.
Additional questions? The only one I had was around a sort of timeline. Like, if this passes, when would this start, and how long would it take to make this shift? It seems like the biggest shift might be for the folks in the rec department to get everything onto the new system.
So we're starting with them. To my knowledge, that's what we've been discussing. And so that would be the first part of the project. And it's likely to go, they were giving us an average of 6 months, that we would probably be ready somewhere around December for actual cutover. So, and in the meantime, we've, kept up with the current system. So that's going to be operable the entire time. So we won't lose anything. That answer the question?
Okay. Any other questions? Any discussion on this resolution from counselors? Okay, I'm excited about it. I think if we can get everything on one platform and streamline everything, get everything talking to one another across departments and making the mobile experience better, since that's how most of our citizens tend to be accessing services and looking at things, I think that's all to the good. Okay, if there are no other comments from counselors, then if you could call the roll, please.
Council Glazebrook? Council Glazebrook?
Hi, sorry, I got unmuted.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornblue?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. Next resolution, item B, is Resolution 2023-2024-39, the sale of 302 Piscassic Street. At this time, I would accept a resolution a motion to approve this resolution.
I will make the motion.
Second.
Excellent. And Town Manager, are you giving an overview of this one, or is this
Bill,
also
can
you,
you
Mr.
come up?
Cuppin?
Sorry.
Okay,
Space out for a minute.
no problem.
Okay, this is a property that was, as I say in the staff report, that someone died. The property was then willed to we believe, to the person's son, and then they were unable to pay their taxes. And so we went through a process repeatedly trying to get in touch with them, and they remained unable to pay their taxes. So we went through a further process where after it was deeded, where we tried to help them find funding so that they could not only pay the taxes, but also so they could get the property back. And unfortunately that failed, and we worked with the attorney, our legal counsel, to help us go through this process to make sure that we were doing everything correctly. And anyway, we ended up, over a year later where we are today. So what we want to do is, because we're really not in the real estate business, is to sell the property through a realtor, a local realtor, and then take the money from the proceeds to pay the town back for everything that's put into it, which includes water, sewer, and condo fees, in addition to the taxes, and then the remainder of the proceeds will go back to the original owner.
Okay.
Just to add to it. As for the disposal of the property, most communities do an auction, which is not always in the best interest of the town because there's no minimums. And it also is not in the best interest of the individual who because owners of the property, because no minimums, they don't get to put their road. However, there is an RSA, one RSA that says that we're allowed to dispose of the property in the best interest of the town. The city of Portsmouth a number of years ago, and I think they went to court and won, determined that selling it through a realtor is in the best interest of the town because both parties are made whole in that situation. So this is on, in my 12 years here, this is only the second parcel that we've actually had to sell this way.
Mhm.
So, and we did the last one the same way.
Councilor Lamatino.
Do we ensure that we get at least the minimum appraised value? Is there a minimum that
Yo,
we have to-
yeah,
Yes, if I might, when the realtor and I walked through the property, this person was convinced that we were gonna get top dollar for the property as is, and it wasn't in the, it was not in the absolute best condition, because the market is so tight. So, which was another reason why we were convinced that this is absolutely the best way to go. Because it guarantees that we will be made whole as a town, but also that the best proceeds can go to the original owner.
that's
So, which is the fairest thing.
right, because if we went to auction, they may have bid $10,000 and
Right.
we're made whole, but the owner of the property is not. So this way, it's a win-win. Thank you.
Other questions? So is this a standard, because like you said, we haven't done a lot of these, but is this a standard process when the town takes a deed for property because of the failure to pay taxes, that we would sell the property and then return the proceeds?
That's statutory.
It is.
Excess,
That's law.
so proceeds,
Yes, it's
okay.
law.
Okay. Seeing no other, I'm sorry, are there any other comments or discussion on this resolution? Okay. Seeing none, if you could call the roll, please. Thank you, Mr.
Counselor Blaisberg?
Aye.
Counselor Lamatino?
Aye.
Counselor Dornbluth?
Aye.
Counselor White?
Aye.
Counselor Gladstone?
Aye.
Counselor Ward?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. Next one is Resolution 2023-2024-41, and this is on water rates and fees. And this time, I will turn it over to you, sir.
So,
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Before I do that, at this
Yeah.
time, I would accept a motion to approve this resolution. It's late. I'm tired.
So moved.
Thank you.
And I will second.
Thank you very much. Okay, now I will turn it over to you, Mr. Gray.
so every year we review the water and sewer rates to see if they need to be increased. As you know, we've done a lot of work on our water and sewer systems in the past few years. Looking at the local water rates and then going online to the state website, the town of Newmarket is in the middle of the pack for water and sewer rates. So we're not on the high end and we're right in the middle. Looking at the sewer, I'm recommending no. If you read the report, I'm looking for no rate increases on the sewer. The sewer is in great shape. We haven't had to raise the increases as much as we said in the past, and this is because we've streamlined things and we've received more grants and we've taken in a lot of septage. So that's the good side. On the water side, we're actually working on and we're actually finishing up a lot of infrastructure improvements. We also have faced a lot of increases due to inflation and costs have just gone up. So in the past, as I said, we're currently at the $7.25 for the rate and a $10 quarterly charge. I said in the past that we would need to get around $7.75 before this inflation took place. Right now, looking at the other towns and looking at their rates, I'm actually recommending that we increase the quarterly charge this time around by $6, which means everybody's cost will go up for $24 a year, regardless of how much water they use, which will help the department with its income, and it'll also have the least impact on all the users rather than doing a percentage increase. I am anticipating, I'm not sure what it will be, but looking forward, that we are probably looking at a couple more increases over the next 2 years. Probably we need to get down to the $8 to the 8.25 range. So 75 cents to $1 more over the next few years. And I'm also, in reviewing those, I looked at all the other charges that we have, and I noticed that our final read charge is $25, and most of the other cities and towns are $40 and $50. So I'm recommending the final read go up to $50 for a final read.
Okay. Questions from the councilors? Councilor Blackstone.
This is a related question. I see we're getting a tour on Saturday of the facility.
We have an open house, not this Saturday, but the 15th, June 15th.
Oh, next Saturday, right?
June 15th.
Okay.
Yep.
And is that just the area down by the fire station, or is it other wells as well?
We're just doing the tour. We're doing a reception there and a tour of that facility.
Right.
We will also have information on all the facilities there, maps
Okay.
and stuff for people to ask questions on everything about water and sewer.
Great, thank you.
Councilor Ward.
I've done the open house and gone on a few tours. It's definitely worth going down to visit at the open house on the 15th. It's good to know where your water comes from.
So, real quick question. So currently the water rate is $7.25, and so we're
Yes.
recommending that in lieu of a rate increase this time around, we're recommending an increase to the quarterly
Quarterly
fees.
charge,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
Okay.
And
So
that's
people's water rate would not go up.
The water rate would remain the same, so the rate would be $7.25 plus a $16 per quarter charge.
Okay. Councilor Drumblin.
Can you go over your reasoning for that again? Because when I hear that, I hear that people who are trying to save water, not use as much water, are not benefiting from that
So-
activity.
Going through I've attended quite a few rate setting, and I actually set it according to what the other communities are doing. We're kind of right with, I think Newfields is $15 per quarter. Portsmouth is $15 per quarter. Exeter is $46 per quarter. So I just kind of figured we should put ourselves in that point. We try and strike a balance between a family and someone that doesn't, because we do want to conserve.
Right.
But we kind of don't want to like hit the families, that are trying to make it, or hit the person that, you got to strike that balance between the two. The person so if someone's only using 1 cubic foot, of water, which is like 7.25, we're trying to make sure that they're paying, because we have to have that infrastructure there to get them the water for that location, for fire, for all that stuff. So we're trying to balance it out. Trying not to hit the elderly, but we're also trying not to hit the families.
Councilor White.
Substantial increase in the final rate fee.
Yes, it is.
What was the reasoning?
It's,
Behind that.
we were coming into what other communities were charging for that. So ideally, for a final read, someone calls up, they're selling their house. We go out, we have to read it. We have to generate the work order. Someone has to go out to read it. Then we have to process and then we have to bill. It's to cover those costs. And those are something we have to actually, we don't get as much notice on those to get someone out, because closings just pop up a lot. So that's why.
So you're saying we're losing money then at the $25 level?
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying I'm saying we're getting in the same area of what other people are charging for that cost to have that final read. The Portsmouth, the Dovers, the other communities for final reads.
Other questions? Councilor Medina.
So the sewer rates are not going up because you have a pretty good revenue coming in now because of septic that we're taking from other communities. And I assume that that's expected to continue. And isn't that putting a strain on our systems to take septage from other places?
Actually, a lot of it helps our treatment process because of the nitrogen and the way it works and the way our treatment process works. I think it's very important that we take that because our treatment process, what we put in, can handle it. And the users are benefiting it by keeping a lower rate. So I want to say about 20% of the revenue out of that is what it costs us. So there's an 80% profit on what we're receiving for currently on septage.
You're washing a full load of laundry instead of one shirt.
Yeah.
And that's expected to continue?
Right now, if you look at it, Barrington's and the other towns that don't have wastewater treatment facilities are not going to build a wastewater treatment facility. So they're adding more housing, but they also need, so there's now more septic systems that need to get pumped.
So Newmarket becomes the dumping place?
No.
And understand that we accept the state monies and we agreed to this.
Yes. So,
Because if not, we would have to pay the whole entire wastewater treatment
but
facility.
Exeter's putting in the brand new system. There's a lot of places looking to put in to capitalize on this. We will get to a point where we can't take any more than what we're taking because I cannot overload the system. So this is just something that it's actually good for the sewer users because it's keeping their rates down.
Other questions? Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other discussion on this resolution? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll.
Council Blaisberg,
Aye.
Council Martina,
Aye.
Council Drumflu,
Aye.
Council White,
Nay.
Council Blackstone,
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conley,
Aye.
motion passes 6-1-0.
Okay. Next resolution is Resolution 2023-2024-42, increasing the elderly exemption. At this time, I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
I will make the motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Awesome. And I'll
Thank
turn it over to you, Tom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I've been drilling home the last few meetings, as part of the assessing process, we reviewed the exemptions that we offer to our residents. This one is to increase the elderly exemptions. As I mentioned, currently we have, if you're between the ages of 65 and 74 and income of less than $35,000 if you're single, and $50,000 if you're married, and do not have assets excess of $175,000. We have an exemption amount of $125,000. If you're 75 to 79, you have a $150,000 exemption amount, and over 80, you have $175,000. The reason why we review this is because during the revaluation process, most property values change, and this is to reflect the changes in those properties. And what we're recommending is increasing the exemptions for 65 to 74 to $200,000, 75 to 79 to $235,000, and over the age of 80, $275,000. With the anticipated new values, we're anticipating that the difference will be about $9,780 to be made up through taxation. So it really is pretty much keeping people whole for the exemptions at this point in time for elderly. As for income limits, we are recommending that goes up from $175,000 to $200,000. What income? Asset limits. Income we're saying the same.
Yeah, I was gonna
Asset
say.
we're increasing. The reason for and assets are your cars, your other properties, savings, everything else that we have to look at. We don't know what the impact will be there, since we only have the records of those who currently qualify. We're not expecting a huge number, but we just to be able to offer additional as well. We can always look at this again in the future, but this is really to get us where we are now, to see if we see a large impact, we can always address it next year as well.
Okay.
When I say impact, not the positive.
Questions for the town manager? Counselor White?
Why was it decided to not increase the income levels for both single and married?
Sure, yeah, because we're comparative to most of the other communities in the area. It's what other.
But with the record level of inflation over the last few years, and people stretching their dollar even further than they've ever had to, and obviously inflation far outdistancing pay increases, we're asking people to at that, you know, to make their money last longer with the same amount of money, and someone that makes $51,000, a married couple makes $51,000, that it just doesn't matter what their assets are. You know, seniors, as we age, normally your income level does decrease. And I think we've missed maybe the boat on the increase for the income levels for both married and single, as it would just said, yeah, I know you were trying to make your money go further, but you know, because you made $51,000, we're not going to help you along the way with a tax break. So I just don't agree with keeping the income levels at the same, at 35 and 50. That's my
Follow-up.
Okay.
Just
Roger.
all the communities that we compared ourselves to were done recently. It wasn't done a long time. They've also gone through their revals recently. So it's not a comparison. I don't want to think that their numbers are pre-inflation. It's the same.
Yeah.
The reason, one of the big things is because we try to be fair to everybody across the board. And anything that's changed here that has to be made up somewhere else.
Right.
We don't have, so we don't get any assistance from the state for these programs. So a reduction in taxes for one group is an increase in taxes for another.
And then, Councilor Dornblut, and then we can come back to you, Councilor White. Just want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to speak.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Just a quick follow-up to
Okay.
that.
Of course.
We say we want to help everyone, but it doesn't help the low income people at all. That's my only complaint. And I know because I am one of them, and I live in a neighborhood full of them. So,
Councilor Dornblut.
I'm wondering if the income levels are gross income or after-tax income.
I'll have to double check. You know what, I believe it's gross.
Because in that case, I think it's, I would agree with Councilor White that the income levels are more significant than the asset limits at that level, I would imagine. And at a gross income of 35,000, I'm not sure. I think that's a very low mark. I would hope that we could do better and maybe shift the numbers a little bit so that we maybe move out of the move the asset limits a little bit, so that if you do have assets of 200,000 or more, that you would not qualify. But if your income is a little bit higher, you still would. I think it's if that's a gross income, I think that would be a bottom line kind of exemption, and I hope that we can do that. We can do better than that. I don't know what that would be, and I'm not saying that I want to juggle those numbers, but I would like to see what that could be, and if we could do that, if we could bring that up a little bit, because I think we would capture more people who are relying on this exemption in order to make it through the year.
Counselor Ward.
I mean, I understand what the town manager is saying about, if we, tax not paid by one group gets paid by the other, but I also agree that we should try and look at the numbers, see if there's any more wiggle room to, if we can help the people out, and help out the elderly a bit more, find that, but yeah, like, I just want us to make sure that we do the numbers first. I do want to help raise the number up, but, I do want to make sure we're also fair to everyone else who pays taxes in town.
Let Council, and then I'll...
Okay, Counselor White.
I have just one more thing to say, and that is the low to medium income people, where this is, the income level is most important. I believe, and this is my own belief, are paying a higher percentage of their income to taxes than anyone else in town.
That's accurate.
Yeah, and we're just asking them to, suck it up, just make it work. So
I just don't want to be blamed for the New Hampshire's tax system of relying on property taxes. Please understand that that's the issue with the state of New Hampshire. Councilor Gray.
it's the issue of keeping your home.
Yep, absolutely.
So we'll go to Counselor Lamattina, and then we'll go to you, Counselor Glazberg.
Well, I'll let him go first.
Okay, Counselor Glazberg.
So with this and the last ordinance that we went over, it was said that we had looked at neighboring towns, and that's kind of what we went off. And I'm not sure that is. At some point, somebody has to have done some sort of research. Otherwise, what are we all basing that number off of? And that's what I would like to be able to look at.
We have, it was in your packet, the assessors do the research. We have an assessing staff from MRI, they compare not only with that, the numbers are also on the department for the entire state, on the DRA website. We don't want to compare the entire state because we're not compared to Berlin or Keene. So, but we do try to keep the area around us. We're also not going to, we don't try to include communities such as, which are very often, like Newcastle, Wolfboro, those who are just, they truly can afford to make up that difference that they almost give zeros. So I don't want anybody to think we just pick these numbers out of the hat. So
No, it's not like that. It's not like we looked at neighboring towns.
we do. We look at everything, and I've looked. Again, we have a professional assessing staff that made these recommendations. I reviewed them as well, looking at communities, talking to other communities, looking at the state as a whole. I don't want people to think we just picked it.
Okay, maybe I'll ask more directly. Is there any wiggle room?
There's always wiggle room. It's just how much does the council want to wiggle? It's the council. If the council wants to do it, as we said, it's increasing the taxes on other individuals. This was to keep everybody as fair as possible with some advantage. Keep everybody whole. Let me rephrase that.
Councilor
So
Lamattina.
I had done some research on this before, and I'll add to the council here that the income limits have not changed since 2012. That was the last time we did these particular. It was updated in 2012 and 2015. They updated the thing, but the income limits have not changed since 2012. I would be willing. I don't know protocol if we want to table this discussion for another, while other councilors take a look at, get some additional information?
It's not council, we come back with a recommendation for numbers.
Well, the councilors can come
just don't
back
want-
and make an amendment to the...
Yeah, I just don't want councilors to not know the impact by just throwing out numbers. So if the council would like me to, like staff, to come up with figures to show what the impact of
Yes.
50, 60, 70 would be is one thing. If we sit here in this, if we sit here in horse trade, it's not going to be good for both, any side.
So the question I have is protocol. If we table this discussion for tonight and ask the council, or the the manager to come back with what would be the impact at 40,000 for a single, 45,000, and, you know, increments of $5,000 up for.
We can do that.
So that is a possibility.
Yep.
Okay, so what is the protocol?
Just make a motion to table.
Okay.
Can I make a comment before we make that motion? Because you can definitely make it. One of the things that I'm hearing in the conversation is that these estimates, like, this is designed to, people hope, because the revaluation isn't complete, right, is to hope kind of keep people where they are. One, I think my perspective on this is that it might make sense to pass the resolution to keep people where they are while we don't know what's going to happen with the revaluation. And then once that revaluation is completed, then ask the town, invite the manager to look at this again,
You may
and
know at the
then
next meeting.
take a look at this.
You
What?
may know at the next meeting,
Excellent.
so, at the new value. So I have no problem with the table.
Okay, okay. Right.
So there's a motion on the table right now to approve this. So do we have to
Make a
vote
motion
it?
to table, second.
It's a non-debatable motion.
And then move on it. Okay, so you've made a
So-
motion to table.
Yep, that sounds
Okay.
good to me.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So this is non-debatable, so call the roll?
Yep.
If you could call the roll.
Council Blaisberg,
Aye.
Council Longitino,
Aye.
Council Dornbluth,
Aye.
Council White,
Aye.
Council Weston,
Aye.
Council Ward,
Aye.
Council Conley,
Aye.
motion passes 7-0.
So it's been tabled, so then what happens to the original motion?
Stays.
It just is,
stays
it's
done.
just there?
And
Okay.
this does not come off the table till such time as the council takes it off the table. So
Okay.
it's not automatically on the next agenda.
Okay. So then, what is the process that we need to use to actively pull it off the table?
Whenever we're ready, the council makes a motion to remove it from the table.
Okay. Counselor Dornbluth?
Can we find out whether we are talking about gross
Yep,
income?
absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm not clear about the procedure. How do we get, can we make a motion or ask that it be put on the agenda for the next week?
No.
Or so
You made a
at our
motion to
next
table.
meeting? Okay.
You can remove it from the table. I could say, I don't have the information yet. Or, which I probably will, because we have an extra week. But it stays on the table till such time as the council.
And when something is on the table, is it on the agenda? That
It
this
says
item
on the
is-
table, but
Oh.
but we don't bring it, she doesn't read it, it just sits there.
Okay.
That's actually, it's a parliamentary way to kill something. You leave without voting on it, you leave it on the table.
Again, does it appear on the agenda as a tabled
It
item?
does.
It
Yeah.
does. It
But
stays
but
on- Okay.
the chair will not read it as a table item every week. It just sits there.
And
It's up-
that-
it's-
It can be
it's a-
brought off
It's-
the table.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
By
Only
council.
by a council can make a motion.
Yeah.
Okay,
But if
Bring
no
it back
council
off
makes a
the-
motion, it
Yes.
stays there.
okay, excellent, thank you.
And during the time, so at which point in the meeting would a counselor make the motion to pull something off the table?
Usually.
Old
they-
business?
Yeah, I think it would say, I think we have it under old businesses, items on the table.
Okay.
But again, it's not, she doesn't say this is on the table. It just
Mhm.
goes by it.
Okay. All right. We will move on to the next one. Resolution 2023-2024-43, increasing the blind and disabled exemption. Do I have, at this time, I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
I will make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Excellent.
Okay, so we're recommending the blind and disabled tax reduction is non-exemption. I'm sorry. Clay, how do you vote this?
It says exemption.
Okay, let me get my point right in.
Okay.
Currently, we have the, right, we brought this too, there's a, the blind tax reduction currently is $20,000, which equals $590 off the taxes. We offer two of those. We're recommending goes up to $30,000, to keep everybody whole at $590. The second is disabled, which means 100% disabled. It's $70,000. We're adjusting that to $105,000 for 8, we have 8 people who qualify for that, which would continue to stay at $2,064. This is different than the elderly because you must qualify being blind or being disabled to get those exemptions. And that basically takes, for 100% disabled, for most people, that's a huge reduction off their taxes. It's almost 100%.
Okay. Questions for the town manager? Councilor Dornbluth.
Is it possible to receive more than one exemption?
Yes.
You can be elderly and blind, for example. Yep. And follow-up question. I forget it. I'm sorry. I lost my train. No, sorry.
Okay. Any other questions for the town manager? Any discussion on this resolution? Okay. Seeing none, if you can call the roll, please.
Council Blaisberg?
Aye.
Council Matina?
Aye.
Council Dornbluth?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Oh, Councilor Dornbluth?
If I may, my question came back, and it's just to, how do you prove your disability to the town?
There are forms the state provides and they have to meet with the assessors.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we are moving on to the next resolution. Resolution 2023-2024-44, Water and Sewer Metal Storage Building. And I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. And I will turn it over to you, Director Green.
Okay. So the Water and Sewer Department is in desperate need of a storage for its parts and equipment and pumps and et cetera. We actually looked to build one back when we did the improvements to the wastewater facility, but there was insufficient funds, so it was cut at that time. Since then, the Water and Sewer Department have saved up $200,000 apiece for a total of $400,000 in the capital reserves for this project. The town put it out to bid. We received 10 bids. The bids actually ranged from $608,000 to $1.7 million. With the lowest 3 bids ranging from $608,000 to $621,000. Obviously, $400,000 is not enough to do this project. So we looked at Patton Construction, who was the lowest bid, and we looked at what was in their bid. And we determined that they've given us a very good price on ledge removal and a very good price to do the earthwork and to install the stormwater system to remove nitrogen and other stormwater pollutants from the site area pavement before the runoff reaches the Lamprey River. This is important because as part of our permits for the wastewater total nitrogen permit and for our stormwater permit, we have agreed to update areas for stormwater when we do projects. So I'm recommending that we actually split this project and do a part now and then later on do the rest when the funds become available. The cost to perform the work is $167,900 for Patton Construction and plus $40,000 for engineering and contingency for $207,900 to come out of 50% out of each of the water and sewer capital reserve funds. So we would do this work in advance now, and then because it's such a great price, ledge removal on most projects is up over $200 per cubic yard, and we're down at $130. So the recommended is to do this project, this piece now, and then when we accumulate the funds, we do the rest of it.
Questions? Councilor Dornbluth?
We've had conversations with Patton that they are agreeable to.
Yes, they've agreed to it, yes. Yeah.
Council Lamattina?
Any issues with doing the work now and then letting it sit there for a while and then you do the building?
There's no. So what would happen is we do this work now, and when we accumulate enough funds, then we would bid it. And I actually think this is better because it's taking out some of the unknowns and some, because someone was really high on the building and somebody was really, high on the earthwork, and it was so this actually, we're going to take advantage of the low cost of the earthwork and then later on hopefully get a really good cost on the building.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Where are you gonna store your stuff?
It's in every corner, it's at pump stations, it's all over the place right now. Because we just don't have we don't have a storage garage. And we'll have to make do.
I think I found your wrench in my backpack. So.
Does it say the town of Newmarket on it?
Any other questions? Okay, if not, thank you very much. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Councilor Dornbluth?
I think it makes a lot of sense to split it, especially if the not having the building as quickly as was anticipated is something that the department can accommodate. So I would say this is a good idea.
Any other comments or discussion? Okay, seeing none, if you could call the roll.
Council Blaisberg?
Aye.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornbluth?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conlon?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Okay, we're getting there, you guys. And the next resolution is Resolution 2023-2024-45, increasing the disabled veterans tax credit. And at this time, I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
So move.
Second.
Excellent.
Okay. So, under RSA 7235, we are required to offer a standard yearly tax credit for those who are total and permanently service-connected disability, or who are double amputee or paraplegic because of service-connected injury, or the surviving spouse of such person. We're required to offer $700. We have the optional tax credit of $701 to $4,000. Currently, we offer $2,000. We've heard a number of times to try to offer additional funds, so that we were, in most communities do, offer the maximum of $4,000. So we are recommending to go to that number. That will be a cost. Pull my sheet. The current cost of the town 30 is $2,000. As you can guess, it doubles it to $64,000. So it's an additional cost of $32,000.
Okay. Questions for the
Just
town?
quick, there's
Oh,
16
sorry.
people in the community that receive that right now.
Thank you. Questions for the town manager? Oh, Councilor Ward.
Just to say I support this. And if they're injured in line of duty or, we're just, let's make sure they can take care of themselves as best we can, so.
And any other discussion on the resolution? I agree with Councilor Ward. I think it's where the communities are heading, and it does seem to be about the very least that we can do. All right. If there are no other comments or discussion, if you can call the roll, please.
Council Blaisberg?
Aye.
Council Lamatina?
Aye.
Council Dornbluth?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conlon?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much, councilors. And with that, we have completed our resolutions and ordinances in the second reading. And we are moving on to resolutions and ordinances in the first reading. And the first is ordinance number 5, 2023-2024, an ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Code of the Town of Newmarket, New Hampshire, Traffic and Vehicles, prohibiting the sale of vehicles on public lands. The Town of Newmarket ordains, number 1, purpose. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend Chapter 30 to do the following. Prohibit the sale of vehicles in public parking spaces along streets and roads. And 2, prohibit the sale of vehicles on public land. 2, amendment. Chapter 30 is hereby amended by adding the following. Amendments are in bold, deletions are struck through. Chapter 30, traffic and vehicles, Section 30 to 44, on-street sales prohibited. No person shall park any vehicle on any street or public land when it appears because of a sign or placard on the vehicle that the primary purpose of parking the vehicle at that location is to advertise to the public the private sale of that vehicle. A person shall be deemed guilty of a separate offense for every day or portion thereof during which any violation is committed, continued, or permitted. First reading, June 5th, 2024. And I did notice in the reading that the title currently says ordinance number 5, 2022, 2023.
Yeah, that's a scrivener's error.
Okay.
That will be fixed. And you will have a public hearing on this. That's the ordinance.
Okay. All right. We are moving on to new business and correspondence. Is there any correspondence to the town council? Okay.
We're still live. We're still
Yeah.
here.
And at this time, we'll move on to closing comments. Are there any closing comments by town councilors this evening? Councilor Glazebrook.
Yeah, so a question came up recently about the backyard bash. I know last year we had a booth. Is there a plan this year to have a booth for the council? I couldn't recall. I know there was a brief conversation about it, but does anybody plan on doing anything as for the town council? And if so, there's a form that needs to be filled out for Amy Gigande.
Councilor Lamatina.
I was just say, I'm committed to the Energy and Environment Committee. We got it last year when we did it to try to recruit people for positions. We did get a couple of positions. I'm not sure it was really worth it.
We got 2 people.
2 or 3 people.
Okay.
What days in August is that weekend?
Don't remember what the date is.
It's,
Councilor Glazebrook, do you have the date?
August, it's the first Saturday in August, I believe.
I don't have the date right in front of me.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Oh, thank you.
It's like the 3rd.
Happening Friday, August 2nd, 2024.
Friday.
Okay. Sounds like not at this time, but I imagine
Okay.
something we could
All
revisit.
right, that was just something that I was not sure of an answer on, and I know that we had planned on the Citizen Academy, and I didn't know if there was any interest in something along those lines of information, but
Well, that won't be ready for a year.
no, I know that.
Okay, I just want to make sure yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Fair point, though.
Yeah.
We'll have to think about that.
Councilor Dornblatt.
I have an announcement. As you will recall, the council passed a resolution establishing a community transportation committee not so long ago. There will be an information event on June 18th from 4 to 6 here in council chambers to provide kind of an overview of what a potential member of the committee might expect to be doing, so that you can go into it open-eyed and do the work that you expect to be doing. I hope that lots of people show up, because it's going to be a fun committee to work in. And as we know, transportation is an important conversation to have, because we all need it every day.
Thank you, Councilor Dornblatt. Any other comments by any other closing comments by councilors this evening? Okay, then seeing none, our next meeting is June 26th, 2024. And if there are no objections, I will consider us adjourned. Thank you very much, councilors.
Thank you.
Thank Thank you.
Thank you.